Hello and welcome. Looks like we're streaming. I got it. Okay. Welcome to the weekly live stream. Tonight we're going to start doing like some basic NPC AI so that they don't just stand there. And I'd like to lay the foundation for um, making it so when we're talking to them, they stop to talk to us instead of wandering around, which leads to other cool things. Before we get started too far, let me thank the patrons. I appreciate you guys who hang on here. I mean, my $1 members, I especially appreciate you guys. That we got the superheroes and the heroes, and I lost somebody recently, and there's still a small enough number that I worry about people and how they're doing. All right. Anyway, before we let's go ahead and get started. All right. So let's do the normal recap. Hopefully some of you are on. YouTube is sending me mixed messages on that. Okay, let me talk about what I did already. I fixed a bazillion things. Hey, Oak Storm, how's it going? Okay, I fixed a bunch of stuff. I hooked up a bunch of stuff. The dialogues are now kind of a tree that works back on itself and stuff. So you can actually have a little mini conversation with the NPCs, which is kind of cool. And just before the live stream, I hooked up so that they know when you exit the conversation too, which is kind of nice. That will come in handy for what we're going to do tonight with the simple AI. All right. So while it's loading, the plan is finish up any features I'm trying to add tomorrow, then finish any bugs. This is something we've got to work on. Finish any bugs that I find and do some final cleanup on Sunday, and then I'm off on Monday, and that's when I'll do the final testing and cut a release. See, she walked way forward. There's some, I think there's, when we first, when any of these characters first starts out, they wobble a little bit, and sometimes that makes them move forward a bit. But I actually think these NPCs sometimes get like the standard behavior first, which makes them random wander. But either way, it seems like they walk forward over time, and sometimes, like in her case, a lot, because she was standing over here before, I think, and she had walked forward. Anyway, I end up herding them back in, like I've talked about before. Anyway, let me turn back on the names. So here we see, I know all of these NPCs, but I don't know any of these NPCs because we've never introduced each other. And so if I come over here and I click on him, he'll say, "Greetings, stranger." And then I can say, "Hi, I'm Fade." And he'll say, "Hi, I'm Solon, and nice to meet you, Fade." And then from there, we know who he is, and we can see his name. That's kind of cool. So now we can start to build relationships between NPCs and relationships to ourselves. And then you can actually talk to him about what the quest he has is, and it randomizes some of this. He lost his custom axe instead of his grandfather's axe. I was adventuring in the area northwest of town when I sat down to rest, and the axe must have fallen. I remember I was at a plot of corn stalks and maybe more than a kilometer from here. Things have been keeping me busy here, and I haven't had a chance to look for it. And you could accept the quest, or you could say that's really too bad, and he'll say safe travels. Although somebody's not doing it right, because he actually said safe travels twice. So that's something I'll have to look into. And so similarly, we haven't introduced ourselves here, and I actually can just avoid introducing, and I can see what kind of trouble. And so this is slightly different, right? She's still lost it in some corn stalks, and she's still doing that, so that's really too bad. Yeah, so the really too bad one is somehow triggering the close twice. I'll have to fix that. Yeah, so again, what kind of trouble? Foraging. He lost his father's axe. Anyway, it's a little bit repetitive, but it's at least not all exactly the same. Let me roll back time a little bit and pause the thing. Yeah, so I think she's one that's got a different... Oh no, we already found her item. And so yeah, you get a different... When they know you already, you get a different greeting. She'll greet you by name. If you've already got a quest, she'll ask you if you found it yet. And you can say you found it, or you can just say nice to see you again. And see you later. Yeah, so there's a closed dialogue bug. Probably when I just fixed the fact that if you click out, yeah. So there's a double exit that happens when you click on the close option. So I'll have to fix that. But the reason I implemented that in the first place is because part of the simple AI is going to be, when we click on them to talk, whatever they were doing, they'll stop doing and face us. And so then when we exit out of the dialogue, we have to be able to tell them that we're not talking to them anymore. And so I need to be able to get that hook. What else did I do? I think a whole lot of that. Oh, well, you can actually completely do the quests now. So let's see what her quest is. Vera. Have you found my axe? No, I'm still looking. Okay, so we can actually go in the journal. Let's see who. In or near a crumbling stone structure with stairs leading down. So we can actually go and we can cheat. I've put these in here temporarily. I'm going to remove this before the release. But this lets me complete quests very quickly. So I can go here and I can say cheat, and it'll take me right to the. Basically, it'll take me right to the item. And so I can come in here and I can take the axe. Yeah, so it actually told me when I got here, it said, this looks like where Pavera's axe should be. And then so I retrieved it and said this can be returned to her. So it's giving me little indications that I can progress the quest. And so then I could run all the way back to town and give it to her, or again, I can come in here and I can cheat. And it will take me right back to her. Wow, it's paging in kind of weird there. So then I can come back here to her and I can say, hi, yeah, have you found my axe yet? And as a matter of fact, I have found it. Okay, so then, so that's not a close. So thanks for bringing it back. And I need to tighten up the dialogue there. That's a bug. But you could say, you can see it told me, it took it out of my backpack. I can't actually show you on the mouse, but it says, Pavera's axe was removed from the backpack, so it gives you a little notice that you don't have it in your inventory anymore. And so all that's working. So now if we talk to her, she won't have any quests, just nice to see you. But we can generate one. Normally when you finish one quest, it'll generate the next, but I haven't hooked that up yet, so right now manually you can generate a quest. And now if we talk to her, yep, she's in trouble again. What kind of trouble? She's lost her father's axe. Yep, corn stalks. Yeah, and she's been too busy to go back. So that's really too bad, Pavera. All right, so that's what I got working. Basically, there's some bugs to work out in the dialogue tree, but it's all working. And it's and then I have to neaten it up a bit. And eventually, like a lot of this that I've hard coded in with these, random text selectors for the different kinds of things, will be sort of encapsulated in a text templating engine that I haven't gotten to hook up yet. I just needed to get it working first, and I could release it like this on Monday and it would be fine for you guys, and then I could go back and fix it later, or if I have time tomorrow I'll fix it. Either way, I've spent now 10 minutes talking about what I already did, but everything is basically fully functional as far as quests go, and now what I want is these guys not to just stand there and look like doofuses facing into the thing. So what we need to do is we need to give them a home so that they know, like they can have relationships between me and relationships to each other. They need relationships to places, so they may have a home or a job or whatever. And right now, we're going to give them a relationship to where they spawn. so that in their random walking around, um, staring into the sun. Staring into the sun. Oh yeah, she is staring into the sun. That's true. Um, anyway, so in the midst of their random walking around, they can occasionally return back to their spot. The reason I want to do that is because I don't want them walking off the edges of places and not being able to get back. Eventually, I'm going to spawn them inside of buildings. I'd like them to stay in the buildings and so on. Because the Gafen had their random walk, and it's very good for an animal. Let's see where to go. There it is. So it's very good for an animal. It does that random walk I've discussed before. But these guys are going to do like a waypoint-based random walk where they scan the environment and pick some place they can actually walk to 1 or 2 blocks away, walk there, wait for a second, pick another one, walk there, wait for a second, and then come back to eventually come back to where they started and so on. Just to give them a little bit of life, and then we'll set up the brain signaling where when I start talking to them, it tells their brain that they're talking to somebody. And that will be the foundation for tightening up the dialogue interaction between the brain so that, you know, when she's talking to me, you know, maybe eventually she animates her head while she's prompting me and moves her hands around while she's explaining stuff and points in a direction maybe. These are all things we can do in the future, but I need to have the infrastructure set up. So yeah, all these guys are kind of staring. She's definitely staring in the sun. Now there. Now she won't burn her eyes out. Hey, little Gafen, how are you? All right. So without too much preamble, let's get started. Yeah, last weekend was a really productive weekend. After I had that, you know, we could edit these and reload them while it worked, and so I basically sat here late Saturday. I don't think I was able to work Saturday day, but Saturday night I got in here and I just let it run, and I just kept tweaking the scripts and tweaking the scripts and tweaking the scripts, and did that again on Sunday and got a lot done. Unfortunately, the stuff we have to do tonight is not going to be the kind of thing where I can leave the engine running and just tweak it, so we're going to have to do some stuff. First, let us define a oh yeah, so the relative location stuff that was in the dialogue, you know, how they could describe where something was using text is all based on this relative location, because we know where they're describing relative from. There's a detail level that'll eventually be incorporated into that, blah blah blah. All right, so building off of this, so there's a character relationship, and I want to have a location relationship. Okay, and let's get rid of this because this is Mythruna proprietary. So this will be similar to the character relationships. This will be a relationship to a place on the world. It will be an entity component. It will be a persistent component. I want to get this set up first, just so I have like a home and figure out how to wire that into the brain. Import silica star. So just something basic. I'm going to need mathd. So maybe they have a relationship. In fact, maybe I don't need this. Maybe they will always have a relationship to an entity. No. Let's leave it flexible. So they can have a relationship to an entity or to a location. And maybe some combination of both if it matters. Like, I'm thinking that if you had for example, you have an airship that's pretty large or a sailing ship that's pretty large, your NPC may have, like if he's a blacksmith who works on the ship or something, he may have a forge that he works there, and that would be his like work location, which might be a location relative to, you know, the ship. So it could move around the world. I just want to leave myself open for possibilities here. Net greedy location. So this dot target equals target location. Location. One time I had a macro that would fill all this stuff out for me. The other thing I want is while I'm here, create a private constructor so that the persistence engine can. Okay, so we don't need to do much here. Any. Oh, we do want to source target. These are going to be separate. So we've talked about this before. Where I don't think I want to bring up the whiteboard because I don't. It should work. Yeah, so let's give it a second. I don't know if it's still here or if I got rid of it. Oh yeah, here we go. So we've talked about the relationships between entities and their components. And in this case, we had, you know, a morph animation, which was its separate component that could talk to there. Well, in this case, this is acting slow. Okay, so in this case, we have things like a relationship, like character relationship. That's its own entity. And so then these guys here, how do I do the arrows? Okay, so you know, this might point to one entity, and why won't it let me? And point to another entity. So that like relates these two characters together, or these two entities together. Actually, would probably not point to this one. It would point to this one, right? So it would relate these two entities together. And the location is going to be similar in that we may have, because you may have more than one of these and you could only have one per entity. So you might have, so this is like, what are we up to, 12? Yeah, so you could have more than one of these that have, you know, different relationships between one and other things. And the same thing is for location. A character or location relationship, is that what I called it? Yeah. Is going to be between some NPC and some target, or it could be between two locations too. We don't discriminate. But I'm going to need to add a source here, and we'll avoid doing the thing I always forget to do. And because we've got these right here, I can just cut and paste all this crap. Boop, 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 boop. Oops, wrong way. And we don't, type might be good, sure. But I almost want to make it, let's make it an integer. Because I feel like these will be more general than, so we might use a string index for these. For now, I'm just going to, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to steal some other stuff in a second then too. Okay, so type ID. And then we'll have string get type entity data ed, and then there's some magic that I always cut and paste, and I actually closed the thing I'd cut and paste it from. I was trying to clean up my open files before we started. Yeah, so we want something like this and something like this. Okay, so that lets us basically have any type name we want. So we could have like work, home, and I don't need to worry about running out of IDs or knowing what they mean. It was a little different between character relationship because I already know they're going to be limited to a certain number of things, and also the type is dependent on. Anyway, I wanted to keep these real tight. Character relationships are a graph that I might traverse for various reasons, and so I was trying to keep it straightforward to make traversal easy. So if I wanted to find out, who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon for Mythruna, I could do that. Do I want a time? Yeah, these are not dynamic relationships. I'm going to leave the time out, which may come back to bite me later. Actually, we can steal some other code for how I do that for object name. I was trying to keep this simple, but we will leave out the equals and hash code at least. Okay. Oops. I probably didn't want to do all of that. Let's see. Let's do this. And helper return. Okay, so I think that works. And then sup? Hey Lando, how's it going? Hope you guys are having a good week so far, etc. Okay, so I need a couple create methods. At least one. We're going to need one right away, so that's the one I'll create first. Where we have source, 3D locate, 3D location, and a string type, entity data ed. In fact, I'm going to move. Sorry, I'm kind of refactoring as we go. I prefer to have the type last. All right. And so this always takes longer than it should. Yeah, I'll keep the comment too. Okay, so type, return new location, relationship, source, null, location, type. Okay, so let's see if that compiles. Of course not. Oh. What else did it complain about? Oh, more objects, sure. I forgot to import that. Okay. Yeah, so I think I can just do this. Boink, boink, boink. And get type. Alright. And really, yeah, that's fine. I don't like it being the type is first. Okay, we don't have an updated time. Okay. Ta-da. Thing is, if I do not add a type now, or a particular field now, I can't easily add it later because it'll be encoded into the databases. Will I ever want to know when a location relationship was created? I don't think so. Alright, so that compiled. we can add, I was thinking we can add an action to fix their location to be wherever. Okay, so another thing I do, completely unrelated to this, is whenever we have those cases where so in components, when I'm storing them in the database, if it's a name that's going to appear a lot, a string that's going to appear a lot, for example, in this location relationship, the type of relationship, there's only going to be a few of them, like home, work, store, whatever the common things are. There's only going to be 4 or 5 of them. I don't know what they are going to be ahead of time. So I use this string index stuff, which lets me turn that string into an ID. And so when it's reused over and over again, it just uses the same ID. And so I only store this integer value in the location relationship. But in scripts, they're a pain to deal with because you've got to pass around the entity data, quote unquote database, just to get the string ID. And so a lot of times for scripting, what I'll do, Groovy lets me add these additional methods to classes to make them work a little better. So I come down and I add these kind of convenience methods. So if we take object name in this case as an example, I'll create, what do we call it? Location relationship create. So we are doing entity ID source, vec3d, create location. So we'll create a location version, loc, and the type, right? So that way we don't have to pass the entity data around. We will do that in here. And overloading doesn't easily work here, at least not the way I'm defining this. And so that's why I included location. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna leave it for now. I can always change it later. And type any data. And then the other thing we'll do, so just make it easier to grab the type whenever we want. So that means in scripts, when I have one of these, I can just say type. I don't have to worry about passing in entity data. I can treat it just like anything that had a string. And so in the quest dialog, no, in the test, the test objects, I'm going to have so I had like the fixed name, which I don't need anymore. And so we'll get rid of that and we'll add fix location. And so then we can, I am going to need some filter methods now that I think about it. Man, we're spending a lot of time on this. I should have done this before the live stream, so I apologize. But this is all sort of critical, how the entity stuff works. So component filter, location relationship. Oops. And then so we want like a source filter. I can copy this from here. Yeah, source filter. Yeah, may want to target filter. No, just need a source filter for now. Did you create your own DSL? Sort of. It's very heavily groovy, but I build a lot of. I mean, it's basically groovy, but I heavily add to it. With these APIs that are loaded automatically as part of the thing. So I define, a bunch of inbuilt closures, so you can call some, global APIs similar to this. I add I augment the existing Java classes so that they operate better. I have a module defined that lets me do, math on Java vectors and stuff like that, so that I could say, say we had a vector, I could do v equals v times 4, and it will, or 3, and it will, it will call v.mult 3 automatically. I don't need to do that. So anyway, let's fix the filter real quick. Location relationship, probably, okay, so source, that'll do for now. That will let us look up a location relationship by source. We probably want one that includes type, but we're only going to have one type right now, so I'm not too worried about that for the live stream. So then we want to find existing, find entity, location relationship, dot filter, or source filter, self, location relationship. Whoops. Actually, I could just do like this. Groovy is nice. It doesn't make me put the dot class. It's kind of cool. So if we get an existing, if existing, will it, so if not existing, we'll create one. And then whether it exists or not, we will set the new relationship, basically, for whatever their current position is. In fact, let's get that self spawn position. Okay, so we want that to fail if it's bad. So location relationship create, what did I call it? Create location, and source, the location, and the type, which we'll call home. Okay. And we'll let us know that we did it. Set location to okay, let's see if we can give these guys home locations. Or if I've screwed something up. Obviously, when the NPCs generate for real, they'll set that where they're spawned. But since I have a bunch generated already, and I don't feel like going and cleaning up all their data, plus I kind of got used to having them around, it makes my world seem less lonely. Okay, so we have a location. No such property, location relationship. I think you are incorrect. 431. Oh, no. I know it. Okay, so I know what's going on now. Okay. Location relationship. Did I spell it wrong? Mythruna ES. Location relationship. That one looks okay. That one looks okay. Oops. Yeah, and the sitting right next to this one, so it should already be included. So let's read it again. Missing property. No such property. It's weird it's also not telling me what line. I mean, what character, like, I don't know. So line 431. So it's this one it doesn't like. I'm creating a static. Alright. I don't want to deal with this right now, and let's see if it's yeah. So we will do this the hard way, and maybe by narrowing down where the problem is, excuse me, I had an itch on my ear that the headphones are sitting on. So let's try again. Hopefully we'll narrow it down and figure out what stupid thing I've done. It's a little bit frustrating. I'll go through like a whole week where scripting works exactly like I expect it to, and then I come up with something like, how could I help a user get past that error? Yeah, because see, now we're getting a different one. Location relationship. It's acting like I put it in the wrong package. Like, it really is. Location, oh, yep, that's what it is. Mythruna instead of Mythruna. Good times. I'm surprised that I wasn't being warned that it was in the wrong directory. Okay, so that means now that we know what the problem is, I can put these back. And I'll probably redo these a little bit. Let's try again. Thanks for hanging on for the ride. We're like half in. I haven't even gotten to the AI part of this. Don't know why this ear is so itchy tonight. You guys playing any cool games lately? I've been watching people play games on YouTube videos. Splattercat gaming is one I enjoy these days. Okay, so we're in. Let's give you guys a little better view. Alright. Wow, we're getting a lot of... Oh, it's maybe because of that. Okay. I've been playing banging your head on C. I wish that little thing would go away so that I could see what Oakstorm said. I've been playing look. New game mod. Okay. Okay, no, I don't. Never mind. I want to say fix location. Oop, okay, we got an error. A null object. Ooh, that's not good. Oh, Minecraft. The M word. Test objects 882. That's not right. Test objects 882. Oh. Yeah, and unfortunately I'm going to have to restart the game to fix that problem. But it did create it. Okay, so at least Pavera Bay Quindlin, Pavera Bay Quindlin. um, anyway, she's got her location. We can give the other people locations, but she's got hers, so that's good. All right, so now we can start thinking about the brain. We've got the brain. So the basic NPC is like super basic right now. It does nothing. Although I could, real quickly, I could temporarily put back the little status texts, and we can see what that looks like. So that was kind of cool. Anyway, there's another guy, Radamant, who's been playing this. He's got a series. Back in November, I guess he played a game called Vintage Story. Like hardcore survival block world game. And so that's kind of fun to watch and chill, because they're like 40-minute episodes where he's chopped up a live stream. And I find it interesting the way they did things, you know, things that I know I'm not going to do it that way, or things, that's interesting, similar to what I was going to do, kind of thing. But it's your standard survival game in the sense that you start out with nothing. You have to beat rocks together to make things happen, and Mythruna's not that kind of game. Mythruna, I want to be more like, you know, D&D or Ultima, one of those games. Yeah, so see, they've got little status texts that fly away. It's simulating damage or something, which might happen someday, you know, and then they say something. And eventually I want, when they say their dialogue text, that some bit of that will float above their heads. And so I want like real tight interaction between the dialogue and the AI that's generating those little text blurbs. Anyway, I thought it was kind of cool. But while we're here, let's go ahead and fix some of these other locations. Yep, so he's got a location. I didn't include the location in the... okay, so all three of these guys should have locations. Yeah. Most of my market research and where I get most interesting ideas are from watching Splattercat Gaming, where he does, like little half-hour videos where he does first impressions of games and things. And I actually get ideas from games that are nothing like what I'm working on. He'll review real-time strategy games or something like that, and there'll be like a little nugget in there on something he really likes or something he really doesn't like, and I go, that's information I can factor into what I'm doing. So that's kind of cool, and I enjoy he's got a funny sense of humor too, so it's kind of fun. Yeah, if I ever get to the point where he does a first impression on one of my games, I'm going to be real proud, because that's that's one of those moments, you know. We'll see. So, thing is, like, I have so many ideas that I want to cram into this game. I don't even know if I can. I don't even think I have my Google Doc up here. But, like, I have no shortage of ideas, really. Where would be the best place to try to bring up? I just wonder what my Google Drive would look like. This is so many ideas, so little time. Yeah, so let's just go there. So without like going through this, many of this stuff I'll never do. Some of it is stuff I will definitely do. And so don't consider this a preview, and that's why I'm scrolling by too fast for you to ever read it. But I've got like lots of stuff planned. Yeah, like the latest thing was I was talking to one of my kids. They're in an econ class for their senior year of high school, where they have to learn about credit and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, loans with repossessions, houses, ships and stuff, which could lead to different adventures. I don't know if I'll ever do it, but it could be a way for a starter character to say, yeah, I want to buy a ship or an airship and run a business. And so then they would have to make payments and stuff because they could take out a loan. Anyway, just different ideas that I keep in this big giant file. I edit it from my phone, so yeah. So yeah, and a lot of times like it feels a little weird because you guys might give me an idea I've already thought of, and then I have to say, oh yeah, I already thought of that, and you'd be like, oh, yeah, right, you already thought of it. You know, it just gets it's a weird conversation. So best maybe I don't mind getting suggestions, but it might be better to wait until the game is a little further along because there's no game yet, and so as we see the direction unfold, it may be more obvious what things will work and what things won't. But I don't mind suggestions. Just keep in mind it's a conversation. Okay, back to what we were doing. I turned that off. I gave somebody their locations, and now what we want to do is, yeah, we made them stand still, but then the current behavior is also stand still. So what we want to do, let's sort of define what we want. Yeah, and Oak, I hope I didn't make you feel like you need to keep it to yourself. It's just, you say you've learned, like, I hope I didn't create a toxic environment for suggestions, but if I did, I'm sorry. Anyway, so let's talk about what we want. We want the NPC to stand still for a while, pick a location nearby that is flat, and walk there. Maybe immediately pick another, maybe stand again. So, yeah, so it's telling me I'm not receiving enough video. Hopefully you guys are still seeing what I'm doing. But down here, YouTube is giving me errors. My older child, my college student, oftentimes does a D&D streaming with her friends on Friday nights. I'm sure that impacts it a little bit. All right, so basically what we're talking about here is a okay, good. So basically, okay, cool, thanks guys. So basically what we want is the behavior the default behavior we have now, which is just stand still. That's weird though, it does it only for 2 seconds. Set current behavior. Oh, but the default behavior is stand still, yes. Idle. Wander. This could explain some things. So we have stand still. And it's like I'm having to remember a little bit how we did this when we slammed it in before. The basic NPC, where do we use this? Is this the default behavior? Yeah, so global behavior equals basic NPC. So that is the global behavior. The default behavior for the NPC is to just stand idle. Okay, so that's good. And so when is default behavior actually used? There's a weird relationship here. Okay, so current behavior is null, or current behavior is the default behavior. Then we'll set a new behavior. Okay. So what I think happens to the NPCs sometimes is that because this default behavior is initialized to the wander, the so we'll set, when it's a Gafen, we'll set it to the wander. Otherwise, I think we'll make the default behavior this. So we want, oops. So for my own edification, future self, and for you guys, what happens is there's two basic behaviors. There's the global behavior and the current behavior. Okay. And so, there's a current behavior that runs, there's a global behavior that runs all the time. And you can see this down here where we update. If there is a global behavior, we always update that. If there's no current behavior, we set current behavior to null because that will set the default behavior. There's always going to be at least a current behavior. So yeah, so this could be null, optional, and this could be default. So there's always going to be a current behavior, but it might be this default behavior. And there may be a global behavior, and the global behavior will always be executed before whatever the current behavior is. The idea being that the global behavior could be the thing that intercepts your different events to change whatever the current behavior is based on some events. So you run into something, the global behavior might detect that, or you get hungry, different things that globally affect your quote-unquote brain. At any rate, by default, when a character first booted up, it would get the wander primitive, and I just feel like maybe there was, as the default behavior, maybe there was a case where we were creating those NPCs, and before they actually had their agent type set, they were starting to wander, and that's why they ended up walking so far from whatever their starting position was. Anyway, I believe I fixed the bug there. Anyway, so what we want to do is we want to create, we're probably good with the basic NPC becomes basic NPC becomes the global behavior. So this is like the brain, the main brain, and then we override that with we augment that with current behaviors, whether we're standing still or wandering around. So what we want to do is a cell-based wander with random steps. Or so random distance. Random steps. So maybe kind of like a waypoint system already that we can, I don't know, because we want it to reevaluate when it's done. So yeah, it will look like this. We want to wait a random amount of time, which I've been using hunger for. And so yeah, I was using hunger as a timer to dump those little dashes, but we will make a like an idle time zero, idle time step. So step is the amount of time that's passed between the last time update was called. And so if idle time is less than 0, then figure out what to do next. One of pick a nearby cell and walk there, or wait some more. And so it would be possible for And yeah, pick a nearby cell and walk there, and then pick a new idle time. Yeah. Then reset random idle time, or wait some more based on a new random idle time. So it is possible if we follow this logic, it would be possible that it just keeps walking over and over again, because when we reset this random idle time, we could bias it to 0 so that sometimes it didn't wait at all, that kind of thing. So right now, it keeps setting the thing. I don't think it needs to do that anymore. We will make it say something so we know that it's passing idle for 2 seconds, sure. And then so we'll say idle time equals, oops. Do I do any other random? I have util, so do I do anything else with random? Nope. Okay, so idle time equals random, math.random times how long we want them to be idle. Yeah, somewhere between 0 and a second. And let's tell it how, let's have it say how long it's going to be idle. Okay. Now let's make sure I haven't screwed up their existing behaviors by taking off all that current behavior stuff. I'm pretty sure their default behavior makes sure that they will stand still forever. And if you guys want to hang out, I'm going to keep going until I at least have some of the AI working, at least for another half hour. It seemed like a lot of times, it seemed like last week people weren't even showing up until the 10 o'clock mark, so could be interesting to see what happens. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I'm going to do another release at the end of February, and I'm not sure exactly what my focus will be yet. Trophy. Okay, so idle. Okay, so yeah, they had a couple of quick idles. Okay, so they're all still doing the same thing. They stand still, and they have idles. I think what I'm going to do instead is have it be random, like a random Boolean, whether they set to 0 or not, and then make it like a minimum of 1 second walk time, because like a 0.1 walk time is going to be ridiculous. It's going to make them look like they're stuttering. So let's, and I won't rerun it to test this. This will just be something I do. So, well, I could just say, let's make the, okay. Anyway, what we want to do is we want to make a dice roll. And then we want to do something based on that dice roll. So if we'll give it like a 25% chance that we'll just wait again. For 2 seconds, okay? Return true. We keep going. And so then, okay, and we'll make it say that, okay? And that'll be, okay, so 1 to 3 seconds, okay? That it'll wait. It can wait as short a time as it wants to. Okay, and then otherwise, let's make it a 50-50. So if the roll is less than 0.5, we want to... We were already waiting. What was I thinking? Yeah, idle times can be as much as they want. Let's give a 50% chance that they'll stay idle. And then the rest will be setting up the random wander. So we want to say set current behavior. And for now, let's just use the random wander. So that will get them in trouble. Because this is not a great... So steering primitives, we want them to be 1, and we want to wander. That's fine. I've been trying to keep track of my parentheses lately when I do this. So wander. So when, and we want them to wander for at least, so that's where I was coming from. We wanted them to wander for at least a second. And so we'll make that at least 1 second plus whatever. Yeah, so 1 to 3 seconds. Okay, so let's see. This is not the right wander, but this is, make sure that I've got. Okay, so what was behaviors? Maybe constant is not what I wanted. Limited, standstill. That's what I want to do. What is constant doing for me? I'm having to relearn my own cobbled together AI system here. Okay, so does this the default action? And a steering primitive. Okay, so it's going to walk through a steering primitive. I don't know why I call that constant. I guess because it just does the same behavior. Yeah. So it's the default action. Set the steering. What is? I think default action is only for display. Oops. Agent set default action. Yeah, so I think it's just used for agent driver. Oh, that's actually setting. Okay. Okay. That's setting the animation, basically. So this is supposed to be walk. That's good. I'm glad I looked that up. Okay. And this is not this. It's brain.this. And I don't know why I have to specify that. Oh, because it's got to get the agent. Yeah. Okay. It is a steering primitive that ultimately we'll be creating to do our new kind of wander that's based on knowledge of the world. So that's not entirely wrong. Okay, let's see if I've got this wired now. Yep, Pepsi is done. We're switching to water now. Oh yeah, we want them to occasionally return home. So, and I don't think I have a walk to yet. Okay. No, I must, because I have a flee and a chase. Okay, so we'll see what steering primitives I have in a second. See, I must be near... Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, they're going crazy. They're gonna go all over the place. They are walking way too fast. Stop! Stop! Okay, so I think wander, I think that first one must be the speed. Let's steering primitives, wander. Nope, that's a distance. All right, man, catch you later. Thanks for joining. Hope it was remotely entertaining. Okay, so rate. Yeah, so these all can turn. So one is definitely too fast. I'm wondering where that speed is coming from. My goodness. Because 1 meter per second wouldn't be that fast. So that's what the Gaithen use. Oh, they got stuff to do. Oh, nice. Yeah, they were really running around. I think that it's that the agents themselves have like a default speed. 1.0 is supposed to be like their default speed. But man, that's, I don't know. I have to, like, that's yeah, control F speed. The they're going ludicrous speed. They I'll off stream I'll have to hunt down what the actual values are. What is probably is that I just used some values that worked and I need to go back and standardize them on something that's sane so that you could make, you or me or whoever could make educated choices about what parameters to pass. Because yeah, so they, yeah, so see, that's a reasonable walk speed. But like we've already lost some of our NPCs down in the, we lost Pavera's or Jasher. These guys are doing okay. They haven't fallen off the cliff yet. Oh, we got who's over here? Oh, Uthis. Okay, so let's get out of here before they do too much damage to themselves. And let's see what other steering primitives I already created. So steering primitives, we've got wander, we've got arrive, we've got location. Okay, so we can use arrive. So yeah, so what we can do is, but what was weird is that they never seemed to reset their idle times. Say oh, yeah, because I never do reset their idle time. Stand still is a behavior I've already defined. So this should make them stand still for that amount. So that's what it was. They were never hitting their, they were hitting their idle, but they were never stopping. They were continuing whatever behavior there was before because we never changed the behavior. We actually could have just said set behavior to null. That will set the default behavior back. Okay, so they're walking. For some reason at 0.25 speed is too fast, but or is just fast enough. And we'll wait. But we want to have a chance that they head back. So let's give them a 25% chance, because right, we've already done 50%, of heading back to, oops, of heading back to where there's their quote unquote home, which means we need to be able to look that up, and that's where we get into the whole point we're here. So we want arrive agent driver. Is brain the agent driver? Oh no, we have to get the agent driver. Agent, okay. Okay, so arrive agent home, and let's let them get within half a meter of home before they're done. Oh yeah, one more. Okay, it's ugly, but it keeps me sane. Okay, so now we need to keep track of what their home is. And right now, yeah, why is, okay, so each of these is a brain. These are their behaviors. Okay, so we could give them a home that is set by well, what we want to do, we've got some NPCs that don't have a home, and so if home is not equal to null and we have a 75% chance of doing it, they'll return to their home, and they'll say oops, let's say heading home. And so if we're going to do this one, we'll have them say wandering for oops, idle time. Idle time. Okay. Now the Gafen. Yeah, so we could set the behavior name too, and then we could get additional debug about what's going on. But for now, let's just use their pop-up text. So we need to set their home, and okay, we do get some entity data here. I thought I saw somebody using it. So yeah, set status text, set agent type. Do we ever get their entity ID? The agent driver will have it. All right, I'm gonna go over here. Sim AI agent driver entity ID. Okay. So let's go back over here and say, let's see, you know what, let's either way, let's agent get NV ID. So they should have, I mean, the only way we get an agent type is if we had an agent. So from here, we do entity data, find entity, location, relationship, filter, source, filter, and we only have one type of location, so that's fine for now. Okay. If home ID is not equal to null, then this dot home equals ed get component home ID location. Right, did I bother to put the get location on there? Nope, I haven't done that yet, so I would be disappointed. Alright, okay, so this is then we can saw setting home to home. Alright. So then we can also heading home and the behavior name I think is a special thing. Yeah. So we could use that as some debug text as well. So let's oops, behavior name equals that way if we miss the text message we can still see what the oops, what their last thing was. I'll show you that debug pop-up text when we get back into the game. Okay, so we try to walk back home if we have a home. Otherwise, we keep on. Okay, let's see how bad I've made things. If it compiles at all, it won't compile. Can I find symbol? Can I find symbol? At the location agent driver. Agent driver. Get entity ID. Entity. I do that all the time. Leave a T off of it. Aha! We need more imports. Really, at this point, in for penny, in for pound. Alright, I think if I can get the wander, we might get to start the steering primitive a little bit. This wiring took me longer than I wanted. So that's an interesting question. These guys do their basic wander, and if they head home correctly, I could work on the waypoint-based wandering, or I could work on having the dialogue interact with the brain so that when we talk to them, they stand still. So if you guys have a preference, let me know while I test this. Okay, so we can get there. So if we go here, I can actually turn on the debug text. We can see what their default wandering. Now some of these guys don't have a home. Let me make sure he has a home. Location. So he does have a home now. Let's see if he will ever go home. He's idle, idle, idle. Wandering. Did I do something wrong? Oh, yes I did. So I get in this trap. So you see, rather than doing an if-else, I did this early return here, which I expected I would have done here too. And so what happened is, even if they decided they were going to go home, they would immediately start wandering again. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make it so that if they don't have a home, then they never wander. They just stop where they are. Behavior name equals no home, and we can still reset the idle time. That's fine. Okay, so now they won't wander around if they don't have a home. Yeah, except for I have to return true. And now we are down to 4 viewers. Okay, so only the NPCs with home locations should walk around now. That should limit the damage being done. I could always, I mean, I'm always going to go back and delete them anyway, eventually. Okay, so she's got a home. She should head back there soon. Nope, she's going to walk off the edge of the cliff there. Oh, she didn't. She's never heading home, though. She's got a home, or she wouldn't be walking. Yeah, heading home. Oh, she head home and then instantly heading home, then instantly went back idle. I see. Or he. Is that a he or she? I can't tell anymore. So they instantly idle, 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 wandering, 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 idle, 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 wandering, wandering, wandering. Heading home, but she heads home and then immediately goes idle again. So something is wrong with my logic. I don't reset the idle time, but still it shouldn't matter. She should keep doing that as long as it takes. Because arrive will eventually return. And so I'm wondering, what happens is when these current behaviors are done, then we set the behavior to fall. So we update. Yeah, so if one of these ever returns false, then we go back to the default behavior. So I probably don't need to be for the time being, if I've already got a behavior set, current behavior is not equal to null. Actually, just say if it's not equal to default behavior, or if it is equal to default behavior. No. If it's not equal to default behavior, we don't want to do anything. This is not the way you would write a global behavior, because you'd want some checks first. But basically we're saying if we've set a specific behavior, then don't run any of this. And so anytime we set idle, that's where we want to set this time. And so anytime we set the behavior to null, we're going back to the idle. When we set a current behavior, that one will go until it doesn't anymore. We probably want to limit it though. That's what this does. So this says, in case they can't get to where they're going, you basically walk no more than 10 seconds kind of thing, right? Oops. So that limits them. They'll try to arrive at their destination no more than 10 seconds before letting that behavior drop. And that'll automatically set back to current behavior null. Excuse me. I could have also set a wait behavior here, and then it would hit this thing, and that would be fine. That actually would be the simpler way to do it, but I'm not going to adjust now. Okay, so then we wander forever this way unless we limit this like we did above to idle time. So basically, yeah. Is it behaviors limited? Yeah. Behaviors limited. Yeah, timeout. So it will basically, because wander goes forever, but we're basically saying stop after the idle time. And so that behavior will be set, and so we'll fall out of here, and this should work. And then technically we could have removed all this other idle time crap. Incompatible type steering primitives cannot be converted to behavior. Okay, I did something wrong. Behaviors wrap another behavior. Okay, so that fixes that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then constant, limited. Okay, so that should do for that one. Yeah. The way a behavior is supposed to work is you can set it up to have a goal, and sometimes the goal is just that it takes a certain amount of time. Sometimes it goes forever. Wander will wander forever. You know, you can set a constant behavior that just sits there forever, and then you can limit it by time, so on. So now they should go home, if they can. Some of them are trapped now because they've fallen off the cliff. I'll have to reset their homes for them. Okay, so let's see if we get this working at least. And then maybe I'll see about hooking up at least some minimal brain signaling. I think the new kind of wander behavior is going to be a bit too much. Okay, so there. Idle, wandering, idle again, wandering for 2.4 seconds, idle, idle. Okay, now she's going to try to head home. But why isn't she going there? She's walking really slow. Oh. Oh, it already timed out after 10 seconds. Okay, maybe she was already at her. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so she's heading back home. Yeah, so that's what it was. She arrived at her destination, I think. Let me screenshot that and then screenshot this. I think she arrives at her destination but keeps walking, and that's not supposed to happen. But I couldn't really see. You'll see what I'm... wrong one. See what I'm talking about. So now I can see where I was standing. And then I can see... come on. Be a pal. Okay, and now I can see where she was trying to go to. So, 10724, 10724, 2333. So yeah, she was trying to get to where she was already, and for some reason the behaviors weren't falling back to default. So that's a bug in the arrive, or a bug in how I've got this hooked up. It could be y constant. So steering primitives arrive if we reach the distance. Gosh, I kind of wanted to have this working, and then at least this much. I mean, it is working. They go home. They don't realize they're home. Something's falling through. So let's move on. The behavior is basically accurate, except for they look stupid standing still, walking in place at their house. And for some reason, they are still pumping the animation too, even though they're not moving. That's also a bug. But let's real quickly see if we can hook up some signals. What I want is the brain to have... So let's see, is it the agent driver that has the brain? Who owns the brain? Yeah, agent driver has the brain. He creates the brain. I wanted like see something work like it's supposed to. So I want to hook this up to scripts. And so let's do a simple public void signal string signal object args. Okay. And so this we will make, say, we'll log it. Okay, we'll log it, and we will say signal what is the start time? We can just say, we have to, we don't know the frame time. That's unfortunate. So we'll be dumb. I have some wiring to do, and this is just a hacky way of getting that to work. Because in real life, you wouldn't do this anyway. Last frame time, comma. Let's let that stay for 4 seconds. Okay, so that should be hooked up there. And then for this, we can actually, let's see, who sets up the agent driver? It is the agent system. Does the agent system let me get agents? Agent container has an agent driver. Yeah, so I can add one of these. Just all kinds of hacky wiring today. Agents, get object ID. Okay, so these should be everything we need to start hooking up, so that if we click on a dialog, oops, 463. So basically what I want is when I click a dialog and talk to the NPC, I want it to say some text above their heads, which proves that we could wire it and we could interrupt whatever thing they're currently doing. And actually, I could have set that as well. Oh well. We've already gone through the trouble starting the game. Though we haven't gone all the way into the world. That's the fast part anyway. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to set, when we get a signal, I'm going to set the current behavior to null. And that will trigger idle. I'm all kinds of hacking here, so since we've already put hunger up here, we'll put idle time up here too. And that way I can set idle time to, really we want to signal the behaviors, potentially. Or we put, well, what would really happen is we enqueue this signal for the behavior to interpret if it wants to. But I'm just going to set it for 10, when we interact with it for 10 seconds, what is it, behavior, name, my hand went numb. Okay, behavior, name, come on hand, okay, equals talking, or signal does, this be generic name. Okay, so for 10 seconds, they'll just sit there like that. Okay, sorry about that, guys. And this is what I can use to pass parameters in that make them face me, which would be a new behavior. One of the other to-do items I have is that when you've clicked on an object to get the dialogue up, if that object gets too far away for some reason, because it's an NPC or because it's, you know, falling down a cliff or whatever, that the dialogue would automatically close. Alright, so now we can leave the game running, in theory. And our NPCs should not wander too far from home. So we should be good there. Alright, so yeah, she's heading, or he's heading home. Is it a he? Yeah, it's a he. But I like Pavera. We'll just stick with Pavera for now. So she's wandering home. She timed out for home. And so we can come over here and we can mess with her dialogue options. And whenever she talks to us here, we can add some stuff. I think we can do system. Oh, there she's going to wander some more. And I don't think I have the agent system imported, so just in case, I'm going to add an import to my script. Import. Okay. So let's echo agents. So when I talk to her, we should see that. Blink. We did that. Oh, we saw a bunch of errors though. No such method. Echo. Oh. I forget that over here I have to do session echo. Because we're not in a normal action anymore. Okay, so it was trying to do it. Echo agents. We have the agent system. Cool. Alright. So next thing I can do is def brain equals agents.get agent driver self. And just in case that's null, brain. And so now we'll say brain. Whoops. Okay, so let's see. We've got that working. Wink. Yep. Okay. So we ought to be able to signal the brain now. Brain signal talking. And we can include our own resolve entity ID session. So she's talking to me. Okay. And so that should have, okay, let's talk to her. Boink. Talking. Look at that. Okay, so she's going to be idle for 10 seconds. And then she should start walking again whether we talk to her or not. That's cool. All right. Cool. All right, so I've got like the basic framework set up. I need to figure out why there, yes, if I talk to her from farther away, you can see that she says talking. She's signaled that she's talking, and it probably logged that she was talking to me. We'll just trust that for now. And so now she's going to head back home. And so now we have all that set up. And the cool thing about that is that later on in dialogues, I can say, you know, I can signal talking, which may make them, you know, move their head and you know, for some number of seconds to act like they're talking. But I could also have them wave at you or point in different directions. And so eventually these dialogues and the agent, the brain, will interact with one another. Eventually, it could be that the dialogue of an NPC is generated by the brain itself based on, you know, its own state and what it knows and what it doesn't know. So that's a very important interaction to have, because perhaps normally when we click on an NPC, the only thing that would happen is we would signal, and it would be the thing sending the text for the dialogue, and not, you know, scripts at that point. I mean scripts, but brain scripts, and not, you know, my hand-coded scripts. Anyway, so we've got basic working. All these guys should be idle if they don't have a home. Yeah, so they've got a no home, so they're not going anywhere. These guys have no home, so they're not going anywhere. If I gave her a home, fixed location. So now she has a home. But she didn't know that when she booted up. And that's another thing I have to fix, that if they're given a home or their home moves, they have to update. At any rate, we're basically hooked up and everything else is debugging problems. Like why, when they get home, they stop and walk in place. And so then I need to hook it up so that if she's wandering around, yeah, so if I come talk to her now, like let's wait till she's walking again. So if I talk to her, should have gone idle instantly. Well, I guess she's not walking in place, so she must have. And since I can signal actually that I'm done, because she says safe travels, I could signal again when we exit the dialogue that they're ready to go walking again. So anyway, we got all the stuff hooked up, and I think this is where I'm going to stop, because really it's a deep in from here, and I have to go to the bathroom and make my dinner. So thanks for hanging out for all of this, guys. I hope it was remotely entertaining. Again, I'm trying to get all this wrapped up. I will definitely be cutting a release on Monday. It's just a matter of what it will have at this point, because I can't delay it any longer because I got to start on the next stuff. Plus, I think after this release, I have to take like a week break to get some stuff done around the house that I haven't been able to do. Anyway, so that's where we stand. I still have to go through and triage the list and get rid of all the stuff I know I'm not going to do. I really wanted to fix all the character animations and add some new animations, but that'll happen later. Maybe not even in the next release, but the following release. So anyway, we can see I've gotten a lot done for this, more points than I've gotten done in any other release recently. Of course, my points are somewhat inflated, but anyway, I'm going to get rid of a bunch of stuff. There's maybe 4 or 5 items left for this release, and you can see I gotten a lot done for this release so far. That's all the done things, and all the undone things too. Anyway, thanks for joining. I hope if you guys are working on something that you have a really productive week. I hope if you are taking off on Monday, that I hope you find something cool to do on your holiday. It's the last holiday for a while, so it's like a no man's land till Memorial Day. Anyway, thank the patrons again, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for joining.